Good afternoon. Today we have an unusual format. In the studio, Dushin
Good afternoon.
and Vlad.
Good afternoon.
Many people have seen and know you as people who can tell the blunt truth, sometimes frankly and directly. I watched your video. You keep talking about some dangerous organization, about the Anticult, about Dvorkin. And my first question is, why is the Anticult dangerous?
Let's probably go step by step. So let's start with what the Anticult is.
Okay, what is the Anticult? For many, that's a new concept.
It's more like a well-forgotten old one than something new. People don't remember history well. They've stopped reading. They've stopped analyzing and asking themselves simple, critical questions. Why don't they remember, for example, what happened to Jesus Christ?
What do you mean they don't remember? They do. They wear crosses with the crucifixion. His images are in every church.
Yeah, I know. They use that crucifix in religious rituals, supposedly on behalf of the Holy Spirit himself.
The Holy Spirit, yeah. And also they bless cars, clothes, bars, weapons. Nowadays, it's even trendy to bless them for killing your own kind. That's the kind of metamorphosis we're seeing.
And what is it that people should remember in this story with Jesus Christ?
Well, who was behind the idea of executing Jesus Christ?
Yeah, think about it. Was it just a bunch of idiots gathering in the square and voting to release a hardened criminal, and at the same time execute, crucify, a man who wished everyone well, who helped and healed people? They welcomed Jesus as a king. And only 5 days later, they were already shouting, "Crucify him." Doesn't that seem suspicious and illogical to you? That alone should make you wonder if something very dark was going on, that someone was behind the priests. But history keeps quiet about the details.
And do you know them?
Do you need them?
Well, maybe.
Come on, who really needs that? Everybody understands perfectly well. We can talk beautifully and pretend that we care, that we're concerned about Jesus. But in reality, we care much more about a football club in the Champions League, about the national team in international competitions. We're busy with ourselves. That just needs to be admitted.
Okay, can you give some more examples of the Anticult in history?
Alexander the Great, a young man who became the greatest conqueror in history. By an amazing coincidence, he marched exactly where Zoroastrianism had been after the prophet Zarathustra.
And you think that's not accidental?
Nothing is accidental. Do you really think no one was whispering in his ear? That too can be called the hand of the global anti-cult. And actually, there are countless proofs, but I wouldn't like our conversation to slip into the historical field.
I agree.
Why?
Look, history is debatable. And why should we argue? We don't want to impose anything. Better look out the window. What's happening with the climate? When has it ever been like this?
Maybe the problem is that people simply don't understand what anti-cultism is. And because of that, there's this passivity. I watched the film The Impact. In one chapter, it mentions that through the hands of the fascists, there was a genocide of the Jewish people. That's history from about 100 years ago. But still, I want to ask you, do you agree that this was the hand of anti-cultism?
Of course. Yes. That's a more recent example. But here you need to ask the right question. Who planted in the Nazis the idea of dehumanizing the Jews?
Who?
Where did they get it from? Invented it themselves? No.
No. You know, history for some reason only remembers the executors. Rarely do they get to the masterminds, the ideological inspirers.
That's how it was, and that's how it is. And someone really wants it to stay that way.
How does the anti-cult work today, and who does it threaten?
I'd still like to go back a bit to history and note one fact. An important fact, that wherever the anti-cult appeared, afterwards there were wars, epidemics, mass killings, and genocide. That's worth noting.
Who is the anti-cult threatening today?
Everyone today. You see, everyone. People just don't get what's going on.
How exactly is it a threat?
For 30 years, that scumbag Dvorkin and his razziers in Russia have kicked off processes that have already led to some really tragic consequences. Razziers is an extremist, terrorist organization. Remember that. We keep breaking this down in detail in our videos.
But why is it only you talking about this?
Why just us? Are we the only ones?
Egon Chalakian talks about this.
Journalists, religious scholars, human rights defenders,
Psychologists, analysts,
thousands of volunteers from the International Creative Society Project, ALLATRA, talk about it too.
yeah, and independent journalists at actfiles.org. Check out their site. It's full of deep, solid analysis.
Really valuable stuff, yeah.
So why aren't the major media outlets covering this?
Listen, mainstream media will start talking about it openly soon enough. You know that saying, the rope may twist for a long time, but it will snap in the end. Because racers, they're criminals. Inciting ethnic and religious hatred, stirring up conflict, pitting people against each other. And they'll be held accountable. The louder we speak, the faster this goes to its logical conclusion, an international tribunal. And it will happen. It's not a question of if, but when.
You guys sound pretty sure about this.
Absolutely.
Of course.
All right. Let's say a viewer watching this on YouTube is thinking, I'm just a regular person. What does any of this have to do with me?
You don't see how they're tightening the screws on people? Tomorrow you could wake up in a world where you can't freely speak your mind or share your thoughts, where you can't freely look for information. We've been warning about this for years.
Yeah, we've been sounding the alarm for years.
You mean it's already happening somewhere?
I mean Russia, specifically. This plague, this anti-cult, it's taken root in Russia. It breaks my heart to watch it. The people who are supposed to protect citizens break down doors, throw elderly people on the floor, treat them like the worst criminals, just because they hold a different opinion. You see? They're enslaving people. And why? Because for 30 years, some scumbag's been brainwashing the population. Today in Russia, you can get a long prison sentence just for thinking differently. Is that normal?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, at this point, you can hardly even object.
Why not?
Why? Because it's too late. Those who kept their mouths shut yesterday, thinking it didn't concern them, today are biting their tongues. And tomorrow? Tomorrow it might be a cop's baton or someone's dick, excuse me, shoved there instead. That's the drama.
That's harsh.
Not harsh, just the truth of life. This is what happens when people stay silent. Cut that part out later if you want. Look, if you still have the chance to speak freely, if you live in a democratic country, my advice is, speak up and act. While you still can, don't waste your chance. Because many people have already almost lost theirs. Hopefully, only almost.
Is swearing a way to shock, a communication style, or a way of getting the point across?
It's about getting the point across, yeah. Because this language people understand.
Do you swear at home?
Nah. My home's a total chill zone.
What about you?
Nope. Same here.
Okay, I look at this whole Rutsier story and I can't understand one thing. Is Dvorkin really the only one to blame?
Oh, far from it. He's not alone. Second, for years he was running around like a filthy broom across the country, brainwashing officials, law enforcement, monks, and just ordinary trusting citizens.
Let me give you an analogy for better understanding, because we could talk forever about the genius of this scumbag and still miss the point. So let me start from a bit further back. Everything begins with an idea, a recipe, or instructions, an algorithm, a manual, a program, call it what you like. I'll explain with examples. Take something simple, a cake. To make a delicious cake, or tiramisu, which I tried recently, by the way, the baker needs a recipe. On paper or in his head, doesn't matter. The baker takes the recipe and follows it. Adds this, adds that, mixes. A day later, what do we have? A delicious dish. Recipe, cook, dish. Clear, right? Now let's take something more complicated, an atomic bomb. A much more complex recipe with diagrams, chemical formulas, physics calculations, equations, precision, caution, and so on. Its creation requires rare materials, billion-dollar budgets, factories, labs, thousands of people, scientists. The result can be either a new tyrant or the end of human civilization. But notice, both stories start the same way, with information in a recipe. The very wording of the idea, written in that recipe, determines the actions and the outcome. Right?
Right, so we're waiting for the anti-cult recipe.
We're getting there. What's anti-cultism? If I can put it this way, it's a recipe for reshaping how society thinks. I hope in the future we'll find a more precise definition for it. For now, we're just talking, sharing perspectives.
Yeah, it's an open dialogue. We're just laying out our understanding.
Exactly. So anti-cultism is an idea, a recipe, a set of mental instructions to be implemented in society. Not directly, not in your face, but through religious channels, media, lectures, school curriculums, legal practices, you name it. If you read this recipe closely, it's clear. Anti-cult ideas teach us how to hate each other, how to reject, isolate, stigmatize, and label people. Then it goes further. How to strip away rights, take away freedom, and at the extreme, no matter how you slice it, it's about taking lives. So it starts with an idea, then comes the fighters, the witch hunt begins, and it ends in mass tragedy.
You said fighters. Fighters against what?
Against cults.
But really, fighters against free thought. It's a deeper concept. You can shove anyone under that label.
Exactly. Anyone. Small religious groups, ethnic minorities, businesses, you name it.
Businesses?
Yeah, businesses too. Basically, anyone who's inconvenient or targeted to be taken out. Let me quote a human rights activist. Dvorkin created a universal baton you can use to eliminate any competition.
He didn't create it. He took Nazi ideas, polished them up, and made them modern. Then the state's repressive machine picked it up and ran with it.
You're right. You're right. We said earlier that anti-cultism's been around forever. I quoted that activist. These ideas, these I'd call them mind control techniques, are thousands of years old. Let me say it again. It's an instruction manual that, when followed, can lead to massive human suffering. And historically, it's always the same hand pushing these ideas into the world. What we now call global anti-cultism. It's visible. It's out there.
Hold on, let's go back to your analogy. In the first case, the recipe gives us a cake. In the second, an atomic bomb. What's the third?
Yep. In the third case, from this set of anti-cult ideas, thanks to the efforts of Alexander Dvorkin, you get a method for wiping out entire communities. Anti-cult ideas, anti-cult fighters, so-called sect busters, and then genocide. It's destruction dressed up as of salvation. And now, we're watching society consume itself.
Wait, ideas that lead to genocide when put into action?
All right, let's stick with Vlad's recipe analogy. These ideas, this information, is just floating out there in the information field. And global anti-cultism is always hunting for a chef to cook up this dish from their recipe.
A chef, yeah.
A dish that'd wipe out tons of people. That's what we're seeing play out today.
That's exactly what's happening, yeah.
In Russia?
Right now, yeah, in Russia. But you gotta understand, these people don't have a nationality. They've taken over Russia, sure, but listen, they don't give a damn about Russians. Anti-cultism doesn't care about Russians or anyone else. They don't care where it spreads next. They just don't give a crap about people, period. This plague is spreading worldwide. And if we don't do something, it'll bring destruction to other countries too. Even those that's still thriving and valuing their democracy.
You say destruction, but who will be the one to destroy?
It's self-destruction. It's done by people's own hands. Anti-cultists plant the ideas and people just run with them. It's that simple.
Yep. And here's another way to explain the phenomenon of Russia's chief scumbag. You asked what his role in this is, right?
You said these ideas are thousands of years old. Where'd Dvorkin get them from?
From the Nazis. Sounds wild, I know. But to get the full picture, you gotta dig into it. All the info's out there in the documentary, The Impact, and on the journalist's site, actfiles.org. We're not going to dive into it now. It's a long story.
Are we going to run out of battery here?
All right. In 2 words, it's about the direct link between anti-cult ideas and Nazi ideologue Walter Kühne, who was influential in fascist Germany. From there, those ideas passed through European anti-cultists Wilhelm Hack and Johannes Aagaard, straight to Alexander Dvorkin. Dvorkin went to Denmark to study under Aagaard, it's a known fact. He was hauling back suitcases full of photocopied documents. That's where he caught this brain rot. Or, let's be real, this mental syphilis. Sorry for the harshness, but I can't put it any other way. He doesn't hide it. He learned from Johannes Aagaard, his mentor.
To get the full picture, you have to piece together all the puzzle parts. That's already been done for us in the documentary. Big thanks for that. It's an 8-hour film.
Huge thanks, yeah.
You gotta watch the whole thing. Every ingredient matters in this recipe. Tiramisu isn't complete without mascarpone, right?
Exactly.
Makes sense. So, how did Dvorkin put these ideas into action?
In his younger years, he was insanely driven. What seems impossible to us, he pulled it off.
Let's not focus on how he did it. That's a whole other show. Let's look at the result, what it led to. Here's a real example. If you search "Beware sect" in Russian Google, you'll get 22 pages of exact matches for "Beware sect." That's at least 220 websites with that phrase in the title or headline. Now zoom out. There are 193 countries in the world, and not one of them has this kind of anti-sect hysteria. Are people living badly elsewhere? No, they're fine. Sects haven't destroyed anyone. Nobody's getting killed. But then Dvorkin shows up in Russia. He decides sects are the root of all evil. He plants the word sect in society, infects people with his fear, his phobias, like some kind of mental syphilis spreading across a massive country. And I'm like, what? They didn't have bigger problems? Don't they have bigger problems now? Another example. Search sect on YouTube. You'll see almost every Russian-speaking vlogger has touched this topic. A guy makes gaming videos and suddenly he's talking about dangerous sects. What the hell is that?
Where's this coming from?
How does that even happen?
These aren't dumb people, right? Influencers, opinion leaders, but somehow they've fallen for Dvorkin's syphilitic ideas. You look at this infection, and, sorry, I'm going to get crude again, Dvorkin fucked up an entire country's brain, royally screwing their mental health with lasting damage.
That's a wild perspective.
Oh, we can keep going. The priests, propagandists, politicians, they've all caught Dvorkin's brain rot. It's so easy now to slap the totalitarian sect label on a whole country, like Ukraine, to justify violence and atrocities. They're still spewing this syphilitic nonsense. But where did it all start? Where did it come from? It came from Dvorkin.
Infected by Dvorkin. Listen, how do you call a second-hand store, a business, or an entire country a sect? That's insanity. Think about it.
So, anyone who buys into this sect equals danger thing could be called
Infected by Dvorkin. What else?
Why are people so clueless?
That's the question.
What even is a sect?
Yeah, what is a sect?
There's no legal definition.
None.
Whoever the scumbag calls a sect gets dehumanized. What's dangerous mean?
Yeah, what's dangerous?
Dangerous to who? As far as I know, small religious groups don't even commit crimes.
Exactly. Stats show their rate of administrative violations is virtually non-existent. Virtually non-existent, it's practically zero. But they're dangerous to Dvorkin, so everyone's got to be scared. What the hell is this, seriously? Did we fall down and start doing push-ups or what?
And nobody's willing to admit it.
They won't admit it, but they're sick with Dvorkin's mental syphilis.
Aren't you guys worried Dvorkin might sue you?
Listen, if he does, it'll just speed up Racers' funeral. He's not stupid enough to miss that.
So you're not scared at all?
Scared of what? Aren't you sick of this? Jesus said, "Don't be afraid, just speak." And here we are, 2,000 years later, still scared. That's why the world's like this.
Or look at it this way. Who's there to be scared of? Scumbags, creeps, liars, sociopaths? That's some backwards logic. They should be the ones shaking. Why are we the problem?
Okay, my bad. I said it wrong. Yeah, I'm scared of this player that's shown up in the world right now.
You mean the climate Cerberus?
Exactly. It doesn't give a damn about anyone or anything. It doesn't care.
If you're an old man or a kid,
Right. Doesn't care about your nationality or your beliefs.
Recently, ALLATRA was labeled an extremist organization in Russia.
Hold up. How do you call an organization that's always worked to bring people together extremist?
let's break it down. What even is extremism? It's about dividing people, tearing them apart. And what's ALLATRA?
ALLATRA's always been about uniting people to save life on this planet. It's a scientific community that's been tackling climate issues, global climate issues, and will keep doing so.
Plus, it's about protecting people's rights and freedoms.
Yeah, exactly. But in one corner of the world, we're extremists, while everywhere else we're freely presenting our climate models, reports and documentaries at UN meetings, chatting openly with scientists and politicians. You see what's going on here?
When scumbags call you dangerous, I take it as a compliment.
Totally agree.
So I'd say we're on the right track.
So, what's going on with the climate these days?
You've noticed, huh?
I think a lot of people have. It's hard to miss.
It's a 12,000-year cycle. We've been talking about this for over 10 years.
Over 10 years, yeah.
There are scientific reports with all the details.
But thanks to scumbag Dvorkin, people aren't hearing us.
Yeah, look at hurricanes these days. What are they like? Everything's getting worse. Vlad and I are a bit older. When have we ever seen this before?
Yeah, exactly. And why is everyone staying quiet?
Why are they quiet?
Up until 2016, I've been tracking since 2015, hailstones around the world were what? 10 millimeters max? As a kid, I remember hail like little grains. Now, people are posting on social media. Hail the size of oranges or bigger, and it's getting worse every year. Is that normal? What's going on? And here's another question. Why am I asking this? Why are scientists silent while I, just a regular guy, am pointing this out? Hail was this size before, now it's this size, and tomorrow it'll be this size. Why am I the one asking?
Why are they silent?
And floods?
Floods.
We're old enough to remember. Floods used to happen maybe once every 3 months.
If not every 6 months.
Now, every single day, somewhere is getting flooded. What's happening? Why the silence?
Yeah, why the silence? I'll ask again.
You know, there's actually some positive progress. People are starting to listen to us. We're speaking at the UN, and many are using our data. But for some reason, they're not taking it seriously yet. Maybe they think it'll just go away on its own. They don't believe it.
It's not going away.
Nope, it's not.
We've been saying for 10 years what's coming. Who likes these floods, these roofs getting ripped off? Earthquakes are increasing everywhere.
Maybe, just maybe, they're hiding it to avoid panic. But we're not about panic. We're about people understanding what's happening, giving them real, objective info.
Your forecasts are pretty grim. Maybe people don't like hearing that.
Our climate forecasts are always accurate. We hit the bullseye. Check it. We're hitting it every time.
Meanwhile, if you listen to others, their shots don't even make it halfway to the target.
You open the internet, and what do you see? ALLATRA is a sect. That's the garbage that scumbag Dvorkin cooked up. Anticultism is just a bunch of nonsense. We said we need to degas the Siberian plume. And now we're seeing everything boiling underground. The lid's about to blow. Listen, we warned about this.
We've been saying this, yeah.
What lid? What's boiling? Can you break it down for the viewers?
The Siberian plume is rising. Egon Chalakian's been talking about this for what? 10 shows, with all the deep details. The Siberian plume. We're seeing permafrost melting. By the way, the recent earthquakes in Kamchatka, directly tied to this. It's all in the reports. If you can, flash those reports on the screen. Let me give you another analogy to make it clear. Picture a pot on the stove full of milk. Will the lid blow off? You bet it will.
Yeah.
To avoid a mess, you either turn off the burner or take the lid off. We go to the homeowners and say, look, if that milk spills, it'll put out the burner. Gas will spread through the apartment. What happens then? Boom, explosion. But the neighbor's like, yo, Vasya, some bearded jerk told me you're a cultist. Why should I listen to you? Then this genius runs up to the second floor to the cop and snitches, hey, go deal with that bald guy. He's spreading panic, telling me to turn off some gas. It's messing with my boxing match on TV. Some bearded jerk at the bench outside said he's a cultist. That's good enough for me. What's that tell you? They've dehumanized us. They're wrongly calling us a sect. And that's a huge problem for everyone.
And as long as there are anti-cultists out there dumping their crap in our ears, we're missing the simple, basic stuff. Like idiots.
Like idiots.
What, are people stupid? No, but somehow we're acting like idiots.
Yeah, somehow like idiots. I think it's absolutely critical to ban anti-cultism by law. Seriously. The term anti-cultist should stick in people's minds as worse than a Nazi, a pedophile, a child killer, a shit-eater, you name it.
You're talking about a massive disaster brewing in Siberia. What solutions do you have?
First off, they kicked us out of Siberia. We don't even know what's going on there anymore. People are getting thrown in jail just for talking about the climate. What can we do? Right now, there's one idea. Go to Siberia and start degassing.
Degassing, yeah.
What's degassing?
Egon Chalakian talked about this in his programs. Siberia is heating up faster than anywhere else. There's an anomaly there. Everyone knows it.
Everyone's seeing it.
So why are they hiding the data?
That's the question.
If nothing was happening, they'd release all the data openly, including well data, everything. They've got them.
Why won't they release it?
The full archive exists. Pressure, temperature, all of it.
Why not show it?
Come on, just put it out there. They won't because things are spiking hard. In recent years, it's been skyrocketing. Give us the data, real data. We're all on the same planet. Don't you get it? We're all in the same boat.
And why is this happening? Because scumbags have been feeding people nonsense, and now they don't even get what we're talking about.
Meanwhile, they're out there saying Dvorkin and Vinogradov are smart. Can you believe it? Oh, no big deal. Just gas hissing in Norilsk and permafrost melting.
Permafrost. What's that? Frozen ground?
Yup,
Are people in Russia really not seeing or understanding this?
that's what I want to ask them.
Exactly.
Are they seriously blind to this? Don't scientists and law enforcement have kids? Don't they get that their kids have no future? They can't just spit on their own children. Do they really not see where the truth is?
But the reality is, we're being chased around by some deranged co-profiles, and for some reason, people believe them.
Tomorrow you'll be crying because you didn't listen to us today.
And for a lot of people, the biggest mistake of their lives will be thinking ALLATRA's a sect.
Did anyone even stop to think where this leads?
Good question.
They compare Yellowstone to Siberia, saying, "Oh, Yellowstone has geysers, Siberia doesn't." What kind of comparison is that? It's like comparing a crane to a pig.
Or to a crocodile.
Listen, if it blows, everyone suffers. Why let it get to that point?
Why let it get to that? Yeah.
In the comments under your videos, some people write, "The planet deserves this. It needs to be cleansed."
Oh, come on. Go eat some nails and let the planet cleanse itself of you, idiot. Why do people only think about themselves? Why so selfish? Why not think about the kids? What about the kids? What's the point of our existence then? To trash the planet so everyone disappears? Or do they think they're immortal, that they won't vanish? Man, it's like a virus of stupidity. How can people even spout stuff like that?
There's another comment saying, "Let half the population disappear, and the other half will finally get it."
And who says a plume would only wreck this continent and not cause problems on the neighboring one? Who says it'll only hit here? Who says you won't disappear?
Where else could it blow?
Anywhere, anything could go off. But that it will go off? No doubt about it. The calculations show it. But here's the paradox. And don't forget, the Earth's speeding up. That's centrifugal force at play. What does that do? It redistributes things. The Earth's speeding up. Magma's melting because the mantle's heating up. Picture this. A bushing in a car engine starts wobbling. That bushing's supposed to stay still. What happens? It wrecks the engine. Same thing here. It's slamming into the Earth's crust. With the acceleration and instability, it could shift. And the pressure might not even hit the plume, but say the opposite side of the planet. And then it blows on a completely different continent. If it's a small release, maybe only half the population goes. But who's that good for?
Nobody.
If there's no us, no you, no me, no future generations, who's that good for? Makes me want to drop another curse word right here.
Still, people want to know about safe zones.
Green zones.
Yeah, where are they? I'd love to know myself, you know.
I'm curious too.
It's heating up in Italy too. We've never seen anything like this in all of recorded history. Same with Yellowstone. You'd have to be pretty naive to think this is going to lead to something good or just dissolve on its own.
It will dissolve by itself. Come on, it's like a dynamo machine picking up speed. It can't stop itself. That's the deal. That's the problem. Here's another example. Picture this. We're in a car, barreling down a hill with no brakes. The slope gets steeper. What does the car do? It goes faster. For it to stop, what? The wheels have to fall off. Maybe it scrapes the ground or slams into a rock. The point is, there's no soft landing. That's what's happening here, unfortunately.
The story with Jakob Jarl and his crimes in Tanzania. Why is he still walking free? A lot of people don't get it.
That creature is from planet Moron, where drug addiction, coprophilia, and idiocy reign supreme. Sooner or later, he'll get locked up.
And what about Irina Kremenovskaya and Alexei Svyatogor in Ukraine?
Same deal. Same deal. Who's behind the witch hunt on ALLATRA? Irina Kremenovskaya, a racer's agent. I'll say it again. No matter how long the rope twists, it's gotta end. The info on them is out there. Their goal was to destabilize society. Here's my question. Why are orders from co-profiles in Moscow still being followed in Ukraine? Or why didn't anyone see this coming in Ukraine? I don't get it. We've laid it all out, and I still don't get it.
What's it going to take to speed this up? To get the guilty in front of a tribunal?
People listen when you speak up. There's got to be a demand from society. People need to talk. But first, they've got to start thinking for themselves, analyzing, digging in, not just swallowing what someone says. Look at the graphs, study what's happened, and you'll see it's an exponential curve. We're in danger. We're on the Titanic, 15 minutes from hitting the iceberg.
Yeah,
Then politicians will listen, scientists will wake up, because they'll be held accountable. If we don't dig gas, it's just going to keep getting worse. I want viewers to walk away from this show with one thing clear. If we don't dig gas, the catastrophes will only grow.
unfortunately,
It's a 12,000-year cycle, and we've been talking about it for over 10 years, but they don't hear us. Why? Because of that shit-eater and his crazy posse. We're not being heard because of one pathetic shit-eater who's infected people with his syphilitic ideas.
the whole world,
Thank God, not the whole world yet. Thank God.
Who's behind Dvorkin?
You know, I don't think this is the time or place to answer that, but I'm sure the time will come, and we'll get answers.
How do we protect ourselves from anti-cultists' influence?
it's simple. Turn on your brain. Flush out all the garbage that co-profile Dvorkin dumped in our heads. We don't need to learn anything new. We've just forgotten we're human. If we remember that, we've got a shot. That's why we're doing these shows, to reach the people who are still alive out there. We're just calling on living people to save this planet for our kids. That's it. It's that simple.
You got to speak up. Don't be scared. Don't worry about people looking at you funny or thinking you're some cultist. Sooner or later, what you say now will click for everyone around you.
сектантом. Рано или поздно то, о чем ты сейчас скажешь, станет понятно.
We're in a moment where things are speeding up, especially with the climate. It's literally just a few years now. Look at 2025 alone. What's happening? In Russia, when they shut down the experimental equipment, everyone laughed.
Yep.
And now, according to the reports, they're starting to sink. If they don't hear us, Egon Chalakyan's been warning about this forever. Why? Forewarned is forearmed. He's still warning, and so are we.
And we'll keep warning.
Yeah, we'll keep at it. Here's another analogy. I'd love to hear from people who came back from the dead 15 minutes before the Titanic went down. What would they do with that knowledge? Keep drinking in the restaurant, dancing some tango? Or would they storm the bridge, kick out the crew, and turn the ship? They'd know exactly what to do.
Yep.
That's exactly where we are today. All the calculations and graphs show it's an exponential rise. Big tragedies are coming. Where will it blow? No idea. We know we've got to act, and we're doing what we can. What's stopping you from speaking out in your own way? With your slang, your accent, whatever. Only laziness and fear.
Who are the anti-cultists afraid of?
ALLATRA.
Why?
Because we're telling the truth. It's the time of truth, and everyone knows it.
They made one massive mistake. They labeled ALLATRA, ordinary people, just regular folks, as a sect. And they're going to break their teeth on that.
Yep.
They're already starting to crack them.
Because we're going to clear this shit off our path to a future for our kids.
One way or another, we'll clear it.
Thank you.
Thanks to you.
You're welcome.